The scene is set once again within the ventral boardroom of the Black Orchid. Prince Stanshope is still staring at the beautifully laden map of New Sarum. Its borders and landmarks are all marked out. There are small pieces denoting various areas of influence, weaknesses, kindred domains. There are large sections which have been cross-hatched delicately with a artistic pencil, indicating the domains claimed by the other Primogen who have just left. Broken out of his revelry, there is another tapping on the door. The ghoul enters and claims that another visitor who has been invited has come to pay his respects. John waves the hand and gets in position, sitting it down again, steepling his fingers, looking forward to whoever it is that may arrive.
And once he is announced, Alexander Crown will walk in and give his customary nod to the prince. My prince.
Ah, Mr. Crown. Excellent. Please, come in, come in.
And Crown will make his way into the boardroom and sit next to the prince.
I'm currently under the task of parceling out domains to the clans. It is time for us to shore up our defences with the recent activity, and I'd quite like most of our borders to be patrolled, or at least interest put into the various areas of the city, making sure that we can police our domain much better. At the moment, the northern end, he points to the areas where the power plant and the chemical works are, and the barrens. The Nosferatu have claimed. To the east, to the waterfront and the cheap hotels and the northern warehouse district, the Toreador have decided they would place their flag, whereas the Malkavians have taken to the west, to the upper middle class district there and part of the estates, until they can grow in size. Where do you feel the Ventrue would be best placed in this endeavour? I know we have quite numerous domains and influence in all manner of businesses in the city.
Crown will look at the map very closely. And he'll take his hand and he'll place it on the business district. The Ventrue hold a pretty decent hold on the business district, and if we were to have domain there, it would only increase our authority in those areas. And as I look at your map, and a small curl of a smile comes up, and he'll just tip his fingers over like as he's walking it over, and he'll tap on the gated communities.
Sorry, you cut out there. Could you repeat yourself?
Sorry, he'll tip his.
I'm afraid you've muted yourself.
What? Is that better? No.
No. John follows the areas in which Crown is pointing, taking to his notes to himself. The business district, of course, has always been a seat of Ventrue power. Well, not always. Dragonstone security lies within there, and it was once Gangrel domain, as well as other business interests of other kindred. It is certainly a profitable area, but one that's difficult to contain. Yes, apologies, Mr. Crown. What were you saying?
Yes, I was saying that the business district and the gated communities, I feel, would do well, and we could expand those areas.
If you're speaking, I still can't hear you. Damn technical difficulties! Excuse us one moment.
There we are.
Hey, sorry.
Sorry, technical. Yes, my prince. Sorry, as I was saying, the gated communities and the business district, I feel, would be adequate amount of land that the Ventru, I feel, could hold.
Excellent. The business district, of course, is home to many businesses in this, belonging to many different clans. It is good that we will keep a tight control of it, but it needs to be policed. I'll leave it to you for the details, but we'll need to make sure we are aware of exactly what's going on there. This also gives us the responsibility of the river heading into our bay to the south. We can check exactly who's coming in and who's coming out, in case we have any smugglers or, well, people trying to get into the city that way.
I have a few ideas.
Excellent. Done. I, Prince Stanhope, Prince of New Sarum, tra-la-la-la, hereby entitle Clan Ventru with the business district and the gated communities. Once you have secured those, we will see if we can expand, perhaps, into Uptown or maybe the Southern Barrens. But I believe that is a good starting point for the clan.
I agree.
So how have you been keeping?
Busy, my prince. Busy. I've been dealing with a few issues with Dragonstone.
Issues?
Are we free to speak here, my prince?
Yes, yes, of course.
The asylum incident. I was going over my records again, and I felt that the connection between the Dragonstone individuals that were used wasn't quite well dealt with as I felt. So I've been dealing with... Sorry, my prince. I don't mean to.
No, I'm simply saying, is there any danger of discovery?
No, my prince. I have filed a report of stolen merchandise that was dated before the assault, and I made sure that the system registered the... And I'm going to use this information to consolidate and change Dragonstone. I'm going to dissolve the name Dragonstone and some of its employ, and I'm going to rebuild it as Crown Incorporated.
Probably wise. Get rid of the past goings-on within that facility, and we don't want it linked to Dragonstone Correctionals. For the meantime, we could always use First Armored Security for our go-to until Dragonstone is up and running again.
They are, of course, always at your disposal, my prince.
Well, I don't want to rely too heavily on them. However, I do have a little task for you. I remember you speaking of the Crown Jewel line.
Yes, I try to step up my R&D department, but unfortunately, my progress with those certain prototypes were not as successful as I hoped.
Well, every failure is an opportunity. I would like the R&D department to get additional funding. Perhaps we should start headhunting some of the best military minds out there. I only speak of this to you, Mr. Crown, because of our, well, mutual respect and the utter trust I have in your judgment and your support of me in the past. I have created a coterie that is my knightly order, my sword and my spear and my shield when little incidents appear. You were the first person I had in mind for this, but you have ascended the ranks, and I do not wish to mar Clan Venture's reputation with any underhanded operations that might need to take place in defense of the city. But with your permission, if there is any experimental weapons or prototypes that could aid us in the defense of the city, I would be in your debt if you could give us, well, equip us with perhaps these interesting little items.
A smile will come across Crown's face. My prince, are you asking me to build you spy gadgets?
Well, I wouldn't put it quite like that, but I suppose equipment to help with counter-espionage. Oh, why am I even kidding? Yes, okay, I am asking you to build me spy gadgets and weapons. Our enemies, the Sabbat, have numbers and ferocity. The Giovanni are well placed and cunning. We need every edge that we can when our enemies are throwing whatever they can at us.
You pose an interesting... Yes, I can look into the matter. That's as far as I can say at the moment, my friends. I will look into it.
Excellent. This is all I require. I may come to you with an order for certain weaponry. But in the meantime, since no obvious threats assail the city nor myself, it will be simply a time of rebuilding our strength, rebuilding our defenses, and training our agents so they are ready to take to the field.
I am in agreement with you, my prince.
Excellent. Is there anything I can do for you, Mr. Crown? I know you're very much an individual that relies on self-sufficiency, but there is no harm in asking if you need a helping hand.
At the moment, my prince, I am a little preoccupied with Dragonstone at the moment, and however, if something does come up in the future, I will definitely let you know. Oh, on the note of espionage, amazing that you bring it up. I remember I was looking through some old phone numbers through my desk, and I found an old contact that I've had for a very long time. And this is a very specific contact, my prince, being that it is of a government contact.
Right. Who is this contact?
I would prefer not to name him right now, but let's just say he works for the FBI.
All right. Okay.
And I've had contact in the FBI ever since, I'd say, the late 40s, slightly after I was embraced and moved further away from my human life. I kept in contact with some friends and their uh, partners, and then their partners. It's a little confusing at sometimes, but I've been able to maintain this contact. And if you ever need some information dug up on anything or anyone, please let me know, and I can see what I can dig up through this contact of mine.
Hmm. Interesting. I don't suppose there is a couple of names that spring to mind. He takes out a piece of paper, which is by the desk, as there's plenty of notes on the pencils, and writes down Officer Adam Dunstan, or Dustin, of the New Sarum PD. And he writes down the two meritorial candidates that he's been reading about in the papers. And while he's at it, actually, he will write down a few members who have been in direct opposition to anything he has ever done, who are the suspected Giovanni agents. There's no rush on this, but
Crown will take the piece of paper and he'll put it in his coat jacket. I will send him a request and see what he can dig up.
excellent. If any of these come back sweet, then feel free to claim a minor boon.
Oh, you will be the first I call, my prince.
I wouldn't doubt that. But I'm actually interested to see what you'd actually ask for, Mr. Crown. You're so very useful, but you never seem to ask for anything. I'm not sure if you're just simply saving it up, or you are simply content with where you are.
Well, if you remember, my prince, I saved up most of the influence I had for the right to sire.
How is that getting along? Is she still undertaking the gauche?
She is doing well, my prince. It's slow going, unfortunately, with her training and the dealing with being Primogen. It's been unfortunate, but I've had to micromanage some of her training.
I see.
And I have enlisted some help with a fellow clanmate to do some minor training.
We really need to expand our numbers.
Yes.
I'll send a word out to various clans. I'm still waiting on our clan elders in Europe to give us the go-ahead. They might send reinforcements, but we will see. In the end, it's always been you and me, Mr. Crown, and Flag, I suppose.
When he has the time.
when he has the time. Sometimes I wish he'd get more involved in politics, but, well, we all have our
Well,
ways.
you know Mr. Flag and his politics.
Yes, he does do despise having to get involved. Oh,
Is that the is that what our clan has come to, my prince? The Ventru who stands in front, the Ventru who wields the sword and shield, and the Ventru who keeps in the back?
we have seen better days. I won't deny. This is not our heyday. This isn't when we had Clarity Orchid dictate terms to Prince Wolf, when we were once one of the major powers in the city. But we've endured. We've endured, and we still hold the power. We just have to be more careful with it than before.
True. Very true. Well, my prince, I have pressing matters with Dragonstone, so I won't take up more of your time.
No problems, Mr. Crown. You're always welcome within. And he was about to say home, and he looks around. My domain. And with that, the scene will end.